Hi, I'm Bree Indigo, and today I'm going to be reading from Unnerving Volume 3, my story from December, which is titled Consummation. I first met you in the spring, a spark of something unknown, as I gathered lilac sprigs, crocuses, and hyacinth. I could feel your eyes, your gaze, your need, watching, waiting, and I wondered if you were a green man or a forest guardian. But when the sun broke through the clouds, you were gone, and the flowers I had gathered were wilted. Summer came with unbearable heat, a heavy, thick presence, inescapable, impenetrable. And it was then that I began to dream, my body asleep, but my mind suddenly awake, alert, alarmed, aware of you. Like a thick sheen of sweat covering every inch of my skin, and I couldn't move. Screams gathered, silent, caught in my throat, my chest tight with barely enough room to draw in breath around a heart that couldn't beat any harder without escaping through a broken sternum. And I began to pray, every conscious part of me focused on the ancient words, at Terra in this fateful hour. Ochre and burgundy leaves through my window, damp earth and petrichor filled my lungs. Finally, autumn arrived, and I felt like I could breathe again. And though you hadn't left on the westerly winds that blew away the oppressive heat, you weren't unexpected in this season of death. The hanged man reminded me to find perspective. The wheel of fortune promised the consistency of change, and the high priestess asked I acknowledge the darkness. So when you came in the night, I was ready, waiting, anticipating you, finding the stillness the priestess required, while her mother, the empress, showed me how to find the moon, and you filled me with your shadows. The frost came early this year. December settled in like the weight of a comfortable blanket, worn thin by the memories of all it has seen. The forest grew quiet, and the days grew shorter, but I had already prepared for winter. And I could feel you watching me from the shadows, the weight of your gaze following me in the garden, as I trimmed away dead leaves and old growth, making space for the promise of new blooms, the wheel of fortune always moving, reminding me of the impermanence of death and the cycle of rebirth. So when the sun set on the winter solstice, giving way to the longest, deepest night of shadows, I surrendered myself to the darkness. Like grief, demonic activity comes in stages: infestation, oppression, obsession, and the final stage is possession. You thought you would devour me. You expected resistance, a fight, but I rode out your attack like a wave, my feet pulled away from the earth, trying to keep my head above water, struggling to find air, my chest burned with a deep fire, and I opened my mouth wide, a voiceless scream, I will not be consumed. You seized the moment, taking root as I choked, the thorn tendrils of you beginning to grip tight. My mouth closed, and you thought you had me. And if you'd like to hear the rest of the story, you can find Unnerving Volume 3 at any bookstore.